Magandang araw! April Marcas po, ang inyong pretty ate sa Edtech Unit. Alam ba ninyo na may webinar o online training session ng Edtech Unit tuwing Sabado? Ang araw na ito ay nakalaan para sa ating mga mahal na kaguruan upang turuan sila ng mga bagong kaalaman at kakayahan sa paggamit ng makabagong software at applications para sa pinaka-epektibong paraan at lubos mapaghusay ang kanilang paraan ng pagtuturo. This is also our refresher session for our beloved teachers to enhance their skills in technology. Every Saturday, we will conduct webinar sessions for teachers about the use, advantages, and relevance of different blended learning software applications. Ang webinar seryeng ito ay magsisimula ng alas 9 ng umaga hanggang alas 12 ng tanghali para sa morning session. Magsisimula naman ng alauna at magtatapos ng alas 4 ng hapon ang afternoon session. You can watch us in our DepEd Edtech Unit Facebook page, Educational Technology Unit YouTube channel, DepEd Tayo, and DepEd Philippines. Kita-kits tayo tuwing Sabado!
Magandang araw! Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETUlay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETUlay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng DepEd Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del B. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETUlay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Good afternoon po. Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat. Welcome to ETUlay online tutorial. Our subject is Introduction to Philosophy of the Human Person. But before that, gusto ko pong batiin ang aming SDS sa Olongapo City, si Madam Lailani Samson Cananan, ang aming ASDS, si Dr. Mylene Minimo, ang aming EPS po sa Araling Panlipunan, Social Science, si Ma'am Edwina Espirito, at ang aming butihing School Principal ng New Cabalan Senior High School, Sir Samson S. Buquiron. Good afternoon po sa inyo, Sir and Ma'am. At syempre din po ang aming Master Teacher 2, si Ma'am Susan Laksamana, na ngayon po ay nag-observe sa akin, at ang aming si Sir Richel Quinto. Good afternoon po. So our subject for this afternoon is Introduction to Philosophy of the Human Person. So nasa week 2 na po tayo ng quarter 3. Ang topic po natin is all about methods of philosophizing. Yung lesson natin. Yung lesson 1 natin, last week, yung doing philosophy. Diniscuss po natin doon yung philosophy, what is philosophy all about, ano yung mga tools and processes in philosophizing, and of course, yung natures ng philosophy. So this one is the methods of philosophizing. So I am your tutor for these full sessions. Tutor Eresa. If you have some comments, I'm watching the DepEd Philippines right now. So, in quarter 3, week 2, ano yung objectives natin? First, we need to distinguish what is opinion from truth. And number 2, we need to realize that the methods of philosophy can lead to wisdom and truth. Okay. So, introduction to philosophy is a senior high school course subject. Meaning to say, lahat po tayo, if you are all grade 11 students right now, na may philosophy, lahat po ng strand ay meron ito. If you are grade 12 taking philosophy, lahat kayong grade 12 na strand ay meron ito. So, paano ang grading system natin since this is a course subject? 40% written works and 60% performance tasks. So, in quarter 3, are you ready? Okay, you need to ready your pen and paper. If you have your modules, no, you can use your modules and follow me habang nag-discuss ako and sinasagutan yung ating assessment. And of course, if you have some comments and reactions. So first, questions. Have you ever experienced believing in something you thought is true, but in the end, you discover that it is false? Meron ba kayo nito? Have you ever experienced this? No? Actually, for example, no, if you feel that the person is standing in front of you is your true friend, no, who will never betray you, but in the end, no, nag-away lang kayo, bigla ka na niyang binitray. Na-experience niyo ba tong questions na to? Or sometimes, madalas to sa akin, no, kapag sumasagot ako ng mga questions na ang paniniwala ko sa answer ng number 1 na to ay letter A. Pagdating ng checking, ang sagot pala ay letter B. No? Have you ever experienced this? Believing something you thought is true, but in the end, you discover that it is false? Akala mo mahal ka niya. Ayun pala, hindi. May mga ganon. Di ba? So, for this, according to philosophy, if you want to know the truth, you have to use not emotions, okay, but your thinking skills. No? To think, however, is an act of choice, which is not always done properly. Sometimes we need guidance to straighten our thoughts. So this is what Module 2 all about. No? So welcome to the province of epistemology. If you still remember last week in doing philosophy, diniscuss ko doon yung mga different branches of philosophy. At isa na nga doon yung epistemology, which is, what is the definition of epistemology? No? It is a science devoted to the discovery of the proper method of acquiring and validating knowledge. No? So actually, there is no one correct definition of epistemology, but this one kay Ayn Rand, yung nakalagay sa ating module. Since knowledge plays a central role in epistemology, let us briefly discuss its nature. No? Ano ba yung mga purpose nito? So number 1, to show how we can acquire knowledge. And number 2, to give us a method of demonstrating whether the knowledge we acquired is really a knowledge. Kung knowledge ba talaga yung nakuha natin. So since knowledge is a mental grasp of reality, reached either by perceptual observation or by a process of reason based on perceptual observation. So when you know something, be it the behavior of your friends, okay, the movements of the movements of the planets or the origins of civilizations, sometimes you understand its nature, and you identify what it is, and it stays with you. So actually, knowledge is a retained form of awareness. Naalala ko nga noon, sabi sa akin ng teacher ko sa psychology noon, no, ang isang bata daw, hanggat hindi niya raw nare-reach yung 5 years old, ibigay mo na daw lahat ng knowledge na kailangan niyang malaman. No? Kasi, pag lumampas na siya ng 5 years old, no, kasi lahat ng knowledge, lahat yun, nasa 5 years old. So lahat ng magagandang learnings na kailangan mong ibigay sa kanya, ibigay mo na kung ano yung mga tama, no? The good behaviors, ipakita mo na sa kanya hanggang siya ay 5 years old. Kasi once daw na tumanda na daw itong batang ito, no? Kung ano na lang yung na-retain sa kanya, yun na yung meron siya. Kaya nga, knowledge is a form of awareness. No? Kung ano yung minsan na-retain sa atin, it is a form of awareness. So how do you acquire knowledge? No? First, according to Ms. Rand, no, the definition gives us 2 ways, no, in acquiring knowledge. We can acquire knowledge using our senses, the first one. So through our seeing, our hearing, our tasting, our feeling, and smelling. So how do you know? For example, through our sense, no, paano natin nalaman na yung table na ginagamit ko ngayon ay brown? Of course, I can see it. Paano natin malalaman na ang apoy pala ay mainit? Siyempre, naramdaman natin na ang apoy ay mainit oras na nilagay natin yung kamay natin doon. Paano natin malalaman na ang pag-ibig pala ay masaya? Siyempre, nararamdaman din natin. Paano pala natin malalaman na kapag na-broken heart ka ay masakit pala? No? It's because of we acquired knowledge using our senses, the first one, no? In acquiring knowledge. Paano natin malalaman na ang utot pala ay mabaho? Kasi naamoy natin. Okay? So, the second one is we can acquire knowledge by thinking with the use of our mind. This is what rationalism advocates. Ito yung mga ina-advocates ng mga rationalism sa kaya ni René Descartes. Through our mind, through the use of our mind. Nature of truth. Ano ba yung mga nature of truth? Identifying truth, however, can sometimes be tricky. The reason is that there are times when we strongly held an idea that we feel deep down to be true. Truth is knowledge validated. And when we say validated, we mean they are based on the facts of reality. No? This is the characteristics of truth. For example, no, dito sa nature of truth na to, you must understand, our dear students, that the facts of reality are independent of our thoughts, feelings, or preferences. No? This is the characteristics of truth. For example, no, the statement Jose Rizal died in 1896 is true. You may not like that statement or deny it strongly, but that does not change the fact that the statement is true because it is really based on the past and it is really true. Now, there are a lot of evidences that Jose Rizal died in 1896. There are many sources that can validate the truth of that statement if one cared to look. However, when you say that Jose Rizal is the greatest man who ever lived, you are stating your preference and not facts. So, you are stating sometimes your opinions and not facts. So, kasi when you say truth and facts, meron siyang validated siya. Kahit saan mo siya halungkatin, andun talaga na yun ay truth. Pero kapag ikaw sinabi mo, no, na ang asawa ko ang pinakapoging tao sa buong mundo, you are stating your preferences, no? You are stating your opinions, no? Kasi in truth, there is a valid siya, okay? May base ka. Pero kapag nagsabi ka ng iba, no, na beyond kung ano yung truth, that is based on your opinions or hypothesis na nga akong sabihin. Okay, what are the different characteristics of truth? Number one, it should be based on the facts of reality. And it can be confirmed with other sources. Kagaya nga ng sinabi ko kanina, no? Kapag nagsabi tayo ng truth or the nature of knowledge, nature of truth, meron kang mga references, kahit saan mo siya tingnan, sa Google, sa Wikipedia, andun talaga ang statement na nagsasabi na Jose Rizal died in 1896 or the sun is the center of the universe. Okay? Isa yun sa mga questions sa ating module, no? The sun is the center of the universe. So kahit saan mo siya halongkatin, no? Kahit mag-check ka sa YouTube, the sun is really the center of the universe. Okay? And it can be confirmed with other sources, independent of one's interpretation, preferences, and biases. So that is the characteristics of truth. Kaya kapag sinabi niya na mahal ka niya, no, dapat it should be based on the facts of reality. Makukonfirm mo siya sa iba, sa ibang sources. Hindi lang sa kanya. Pag tinanong mo yung magulang niya, pag tinanong mo yung mga kaibigan niya, magpapatotoo na mahal ka talaga niya. No? Ganun siya. Yan ang truth. Eh, paano naman yung characteristics of opinions? So, this one is based on emotions. Open to interpretations, okay? Cannot be confirmed, and inherently biased. Kaya nga pag sinabi ko ng asawa ko ang pinakapoging nilalang sa buong mundo, this is based on opinion. Based on my self and own interpretation. Ako lang nagsasabi nun eh. Pero pag tinanong ko yung kapitbahay ko, totoo ba yung sinabi ko? Ano sasabihin niya? Di ba? So, yun yung mga characteristics ng opinion. Kaya kapag sinabi mo na mahal kita, no? Ibibigay ko sa iyo ang langit at buwan, no? So totoo kaya 'yun, no? Is it based on emotions lang? Okay? Totoo kaya? So lagi natin titingnan 'yan. So what are the different theories of truth? Okay? So balikan natin, no? Sa una, sinabi natin, what is epistemology? The nature of truth, okay? Characteristics of truth, the nature of knowledge, and the characteristics of opinion. So this time, we need to understand ano ba yung mga theoretical theories ng truth, no? Number one, okay, the correspondence theory of truth. Okay, the basic idea of the correspondence theory is that what we believe or say is true if it corresponds to the way things actually are based on the facts, no? It argues that an idea that corresponds with reality is true, while an idea which does not corresponds to reality is false. Parang true or false lang yan. The sun is the center of the universe. Is it true or false? Siyempre true. We all know that the sun is the center of the universe. Kahit saan mo tingnan, sa ang libro, sa YouTube, napapanood ko palagi yan sa anak ko, the sun is really the center of the universe. The sky is blue. Pag lumabas ka, no, at tag-init, the sky is really blue. No? Pero pag lumabas ka ngayon, the sky is white. Maulap di ba? So that is based on true. No? Kaya lang, on the other hand, no, if I say, pigs have wings, no? And then kapag chinek ko kung yung pigs ba, meron bang wings, tapos hindi ko siya nakitang wings, syempre, ibig sabihin nun, it is false. No? In correspondence theory, okay, it is always based, this theory is always based on true and false, no? Pag hindi siya nag-correspond sa reality, it is false. Kaya napakaganda rin itong correspondence theory of truth. Kaya kapag sinabi niyang mahal ka niya, tapos pinatunayan niya na talagang mahal ka niya, pinakasalan ka niya, so it is true, no? Mahal ka talaga niya. No? Pero pag sinabi niyang mahal ka niya, tapos nilayuan ka niya dahil may sa ibang reason, it is false. Next, the coherence theory of truth. Now, according to Austin Klein, it is said that a belief can be an inaccurate description of reality that may also fit in with a larger complex system of further inaccurate descriptions of reality. Thus, by relying on the correspondence theory, that inaccurate belief will still be called truth, even though it does not actually describe actual states of things. So in coherence theory of truth, no, in order to know the truth of a statement, it must be tested as part of a larger set of ideas. Meaning to say, no, pinakamahalagang example dito yung mga research natin, no? Kasi iyon, truth and tested yon. Hindi lang isang tao ang iyong, hindi lang siya isang tao ang iyong respondents, kundi marami. Maaaring 30, hundreds, or 200s, or 500 respondents ang meron ka, no? At kapag marami ang nagsabi na ang statement mo, no, ang research mo ay totoo, valid ang research mo, so it is true. No, according to coherence theory of truth. Kailangan, marami muna magbabalidate, no, ng iyong research or iyong study, iyong statement, bago mo siya matatawag na truth. No, kasi iyon ang according to coherence theory of truth. For Klein, only when statements are tested as a part of a larger system of complex ideas, then one might conclude that a statement is true. By testing this set of complex ideas against reality, then one can ascertain whether the statement is true or false. No? Kaya na nabanggit ko kanina, no, it should be tested, it should be based on larger group or larger set of ideas. Kagaya nga ng mga ginagawa natin, no. Kaya nga alam nyo, minsan yung research ay napakahalaga. Kasi dyan natin nababalidate if a statement or if a certain problems or theory is true or not. Like for example, yung law of inertia, yung mga law ni Newton, ni René Descartes, paano mo ba nasabi na iyon ay ay totoo? Kasi it was already tested. Maraming tao rin ang nag-tested nun at nag-verify. Next, the last theories of truth, no? The pragmatist theory of truths. It states that a belief statement is true if it has a useful application in the world. If it does not, then it is not true. No? In addition to this, no, we can know whether a belief statement is true by examining the consequences of holding or accepting the statement or belief to be true. For example, no, there are some people who think that there are ghosts or vampires. Maraming tao naniniwala nito, may multo daw, no? Because they find it useful in explaining unusual phenomena. Kasi paano ba may explain if there's something wrong, no? And in dealing with fears. So, they use statements, no? Kapag naniwala ang tao, then it's something true. No? So, if you're going to use the word truth, we define it as that which is most useful to us. That is the pragmatist theory of truth. Gaya kanina, no? Sabi ko sa anak ko, aalis muna ako, I'll buy Jollibee. So, So naniwala agad siya na I will go to Jollibee at nanahimik na siya sa taas, ginamit niya na yung cellphone niya. Because if I did, kung hindi ko sasabihin yon, magwawala siya ng magwawala, iiyak siya ng iiyak. Eh makamami yun, sasama yun sa akin kahit nandito ako, eh maingay pa naman siya. So sa pragmatist theory of truth, no, kung ano, madalas ito nagagamit natin sa mga bata. Kung ano yung sabihin natin sa kanila, ang dali nilang paniwalaan. No? So, ganon din minsan, kapag sinabi mo sa isang tao, sa iyong manliligaw, no, at nagsabi ka sa kanya, nag-promise ka sa kanya, at naniwala siya sa'yo, no, well, you are using pragmatist theory of truth. No? Pragmatic ang ginagamit mo sa iyong iniirog. Ngayon, kapag naniwala siya sa'yo, well, this theory is really true for her. So, questions. Meron po bang tanong? Okay. Ulitin natin ha. Sa theories of truth, we have 3 theories of truth. Number 1, the correspondence theory. So, based on truth and false. And sa truth, kailangan ito ay talagang merong valid reasons at talagang kahit na anong statement, saan mo siya makikita, no, ito ay talagang true. No? And kapag siya ay based on your opinion, so it is false. Number 2, sa coherence or correspondence theories. Okay? Coherence theories of truth. Now, in order to know the truth, it should be tested to a larger set of ideas. So, a larger set of group. And the last one, the pragmatist theory of truth. No? If it has useful application in the world, so it is true. It is usually based on beliefs or statement. Kaya kapag sinabi ko maganda ka at naniwala ka, well, I'm using pragmatist theory of truth. Pag sinabi ko sa asawa kong pogi ka at naniwala siya, pragmatist theory of truth yun. Okay, if you don't have any questions, let's proceed now to the quiz or assessment. Sa hawak ninyo mga modules, mga ihot-iha, no? Ito yung ating assessment. Pero before that, no, meron tayo mga what I have learned, what I can do, no, what's more, those are self-answered yun. Wala siyang, ibig sabihin, yung sagot mo doon, no, wala namang mali kapag mga what I have learned and what I can do. Naka-base lang tayo sa ating rubrics na ibibigay ni teacher. Okay, kaya pwede nating sagutan yan anytime. So, tatama naman kayo doon kung mahihit nyo yung rubrics. So, sa quiz time natin, let's proceed now to our assessment. This is the 1 to 10 questions sa ating mga modules. Kung hawak ninyo yung module nyo, okay, so let's check. Okay, number 1, questions. Beliefs and statements are true if they are consistent with actual state of affairs. A, correspondence. B, coherence. C, pragmatic. D, deflationary. So what is your answer? Okay. The answer is letter B. Okay. Next question. Beliefs that lead to the best payoff, that are the best justification of our actions that promote success are truth. Ulitin ko, no? Beliefs that lead to the best payoff, that are the best justification of our actions that promote success are truths. A, pragmatic theory. B, semantic theory. C, correspondence theory. Or letter D, coherence theory. The right answer is letter A. Nakakuha ba? Okay, sa number 1, questions. Okay, may mga nakakuha. Sa number 2, the correct answer is letter A. So number 3, check the headline information. Fair, objective, and moderate. A, it's time to consider other means of cash aid distribution. B, other countries around the world have much better means in cash aid distribution. C, government vows to faster distribution of coronavirus aid. Or letter D, we can also learn lesson from Vietnam how they distribute their cash aid. Ulitin ko ha, check the headline, information fair, objective, and moderate. So what is the best answer? Okay. The correct answer is letter D. May nakakuha ba? Makita eh. Ay. Next. For questions number 4. Statements are true on the degree to which it hangs together with all the other beliefs in a system of beliefs. A. Pragmatic. B. Coherent. C. Deflationary. Or letter D. Correspondence. So what is your answer? Okay. The correct answer is letter B. Coherence. No? Statements are true on the degree to which it hangs together. Hangs together, no? With all the other beliefs in a system of beliefs. Sabi nga sa coherence theory, it should be a larger set of beliefs. No? Parang ang research. Kailangan marami ang nag-agree, hindi lang siya isang tao. No? Para mo siya masabi na ang statement ay makatotohanan. So, well and tested siya. Number 5. The 5 senses are useful tools to verify the truthfulness of propositions. The 5 senses, our sense of hearing, seeing, tasting, smelling, and feeling. No? A. Coherence theory. B. Pragmatic theory. C. Correspondence theory. Or D. Semantic theory. So what is your answer? Okay. The correct answer is letter C. Nakuha ba? Correspondence theory. So, hello sa aking mga estudyanteng nanonood ngayon. Number 6. Why do we need epistemology? Bakit ba natin kailangan itong epistemology? One of the branches of philosophy. Number 1. Letter A. To overcome poverty. C. To acquire and validate knowledge. Or letter C. To become geniuses. Or letter D. To succeed in life. So, what's your answer? Okay. The correct answer is letter B. Okay. To acquire and validate knowledge. So, marami nakakuha ng sagot. Okay. Napakahalaga ng epistemology, no? Kasi dito natin talaga mababalidate and makukuha yung mga knowledge and truth na kailangan natin. And we always need that. No? So, aminin man natin in our own self, kailangan natin malaman ang totoo, ang katotohanan, kailangan natin magkaroon ng knowledge. No? Paano natin malalaman na tayo pala ay maganda? Siyempre, kailangan natin makita ito. No? And we validate that through what? No? Coherence theory, pag marami nagsabi na ako ay maganda, ibig sabihin that is true. Diba, no? My dear husband, hindi lang ikaw. Pag ang asawa ko lang ang nagsabi nyon, no, pragmatic lang yon. Pero pag marami ang nagsasabi, no, maraming co-teacher ko na nagsasabi, ibig sabihin that is coherence theory. Okay, number 7. Knowledge is ultimately grounded on A. Emotions. B. Conviction. C. Beliefs. Or letter D. Sense of perception. Okay? Knowledge is ultimately grounded on emotions, convictions, beliefs, or sense perception. The right answer is letter D. Okay? Meron ba nakatama? Number 8. Philosophers who believe that knowledge is based on sense perception. Hindi ko ata nabanggit to kanina. No? Letter A, idealist. B, rationalist. Letter C, empiricist. Or letter D, nominalist. Now, the right answer is letter C, empiricist. No? Lahat ng mga naniniwala na ang knowledge ay based on sense perception, sense of hearing, tasting, smelling, feeling. Ito ay mga empiricist. No? Pero ang knowledge, if we believe that the knowledge is based on thinking, no? Based on our mind, ito yung mga tinatawag nating mga rationalists. Ayan yung difference ng dalawa, empiricist and rationalist. So, ang example ng mga rationalist natin, sina René Descartes. Okay, next. Number 9. Identify which of the following statement is factual, yung makatotohanan. Number 1, my brother arrived at 11 p.m. Number 2, my brother always come home late because he is a good-for-nothing individual. Number 3, man is a living organism. Number 4, free trade simply promotes the selfish greed of businessmen. So, A, 1 and 4 statement. Number 2, letter B, 2 and 3 statement. Letter C, 1 and 3 statement. Or letter D, 2 and 4 statement. So, ano dyan sa mga statement na yan, 1 to 4 ang makatotohanan or factual. The correct answer is letter C, 1 and 3. My brother arrived at 11 p.m. and man is a living organism. Okay, number 10. Okay? Identify which statements are mere opinions. Ano yung mere opinions dyan? Same statement pa rin. Number 1, my brother arrived at 11 p.m. Number 2, my brother always come home late because he is a good-for-nothing individual. Number 3, man is a living organism. Number 4, free trade simply promotes the selfish greed of businessmen. A, 1 and 3. B, 2 and 4. C, 2 and 3. Or letter D, 1 and 4. What is the correct answer? The correct answer is letter B. No? My brother always come home late because he is good-for-nothing individual. And free trade simply promotes the selfish greed of businessmen. So those are based on opinions, not on facts. No? Kaya lagi ninyong tatandaan, mga anak, in this lesson, sa Methods of Philosophy, this is only a part 1 of Methods of Philosophy kasi there are 2 parts nito, masyadong mahaba kasi ang lesson na to, no? So, sa mga nakikinig sa atin ngayon, meron pa pong part 2 itong lesson 2 na to, no? Sa week 3 na to, Methods of Philosophizing 2.2, no? Kasi, napakahaba niya. Yung pangalawang part, andun na yung mga fallacies and arguments. So this one, kasi this is based on yung theoretical concepts muna niya, the theories of truth, which is correspondence theory, coherence theory, and pragmatic theory. Mahalagang malaman muna natin what is this all about, and ano ba yung nature ng truth, ano ba yung characteristics ng opinion, and ano ba yung nature of knowledge. So, napakahalaga ng lesson na to for the start of the lesson 2 module. So, sa mga estudyante ko na may hawak ng mga books ngayon, no, madali na ninyong ma-distinguish ang inyong lesson. At the same time, masasubaybayan ang module na hawak ninyo. Okay. May questions po ba sa ating mga viewers? May questions ba? So, hello sa aking mga students sa UMS B11, UMS C, tsaka UMS A, and GAS B, Intro to Philo ng New Cabalan Senior High School, mga nanonood dyan. Hello din po sa mga taga-Mabayuan Senior High School. So, hello po sa iba from SDO Bataan. And ang dami, no? From Del Pilar. So, hello po sa inyong lahat. Magandang hapon. And also, magandang hapon po sa aming butihing principal kay Sir Samson S. Boqueron, kay Ma'am Susan Laksamana, kay Sir Richard Quinto sa aming master teachers, at sa EPS po ng Araling Panlipunan, Social Sciences ng SDO Olongapo City, si Madam Edwina Espiritu, sa aming ASDS, si Dr. Maylin Minimo, at sa aming SDS na si Madam Lailani Samson Cananan. Magandang hapon po sa inyo at maraming salamat po sa sumusubaybay sa ating ETUlay online tutorial. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat po.
Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETUlay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV para sa mga araling ginawang video episodes. Mapapanood ito mula Lunes hanggang Sabado, alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 7 ng gabi sa inyong mga telebisyon. Abangan bukas mula 1:00 ng tanghali ang iba pang aralin sa ating ETUlay free online tutorial session sa mathematics. I-like and subscribe at manatiling nakasubaybay sa ating ETUlay tutorial session sa DepEd Edtech Unit FB page at Educational Technology Unit channel sa YouTube at sa DepEd Tayo at DepEd Philippines social media accounts. Paalam!